Mail-order bride to the wrong ranch, and the girl whispered. Mom is back. Alara's shuttle hummed softly as it descended through the thin, dusty atmosphere of the planet Kalara. Outside the viewport, endless plains stretched in every direction, dotted with strange, spindly trees and patches of glowing moss. She had left Earth 6 months ago, her heart heavy with both hope and fear. A mail-order bride. That was the role she had accepted, but her new life was supposed to begin with a welcoming home, a man named Jax, and a ranch where she would belong. The shuttle landed with a gentle bump, kicking up clouds of amber dust. Alara's hands trembled slightly as she secured her pack and stepped out. The air was dry but breathable, carrying the faint scent of alien flora, sweet, tangy, and slightly metallic. Her boots sank into the soft, sandy soil as she looked toward the ranch that was supposed to be hers. But something felt wrong. The main house stood crooked and empty, the wooden panels warped and gray with age. The fences were broken in places, and the wind whispered through the shattered windows. No smoke rose from chimneys. No sound of life reached her ears, not even the low hum of mechanical drones that patrolled other nearby settlements. Alara swallowed hard. Perhaps this was normal. Frontier life was harsh. Maybe the ranch had fallen quiet for maintenance. She squared her shoulders and walked forward, each step leaving a print in the alien sand. A movement caught her eye, a tiny figure darting behind one of the robotic sheep grazing near the broken fence. "Hello," Alara called softly, her voice cautious. The figure froze. Slowly, a small girl stepped into the open, no older than 7 or 8. She had wide, amber eyes that reflected the setting sun. She seemed oddly calm for a child alone on a remote frontier ranch. Then the girl whispered. Hi," Alara said carefully. I'm Alara, I'm here to—" The girl's eyes narrowed slightly, curious but not hostile. "You came," she said simply. Alara's heart skipped. This child knew she had arrived. How could a random child on a deserted ranch, where no one had lived for years, know that? "Where are your parents?" Alara asked, trying to sound calm. The girl shook her head. "They went away." Her voice was soft, almost a sigh. She motioned toward the house. "Inside." "You need to see?" Alara hesitated, but curiosity and concern pushed her forward. She followed the child, noticing strange patterns in the alien grass. It shimmered faintly under her touch, almost like it was aware of her presence. She blinked, rubbed her eyes, but the shimmer remained. Inside the house, the air was cool and stale. Dust motes floated like tiny stars in the sunlight streaming through broken windows. The furniture was old but intact, arranged as if someone had left in a hurry. On the wall, a faded portrait showed a woman with sharp eyes and a gentle smile. Her hair was dark, tied back in a braid, and her posture was confident. The girl, whose name Alara now learned was Luma, pointed. "She is my mom." Alara stared. Her mind raced. She did not know this woman. She did not know the girl, yet something deep inside her stirred, a strange familiarity, like a memory that didn't belong to her. "Where is she now?" Alara asked. "She's gone," Luma said softly. "But the ranch, it remembers her." "The ranch remembers?" Alara asked, confused. Luma nodded. "It listens, it watches, it waits for someone like you." Alara frowned. "Someone like me?" The child's eyes met hers, steady and unblinking. "Someone who can help." A low hum vibrated through the floorboards. Alara jumped slightly. It was subtle at first, almost like the ranch itself exhaling. The furniture seemed to shift imperceptibly, and the glowing moss outside pulsed faintly as if responding to the movement of their bodies. "What is happening?" she whispered. "It's alive," Luma said simply. "The ranch is alive." Alara shook her head, trying to make sense of it. She had read about planetary ecosystems that adapted to human settlers, but this was different. It wasn't just alive, it was intelligent, and it was expecting her. For a moment, fear prickled at her mind. A mail-order bride arriving at the wrong ranch on a distant planet, with a child claiming her mother's spirit lingered, and a ranch that seemed to think. This was not what she had signed up for. But beneath the fear, a spark of determination grew. Humans survived because they adapted. Humans survived because they understood others, because they learned. She had come to this planet to start a new life, and life, strange, dangerous, or alien, was exactly what she had found. She followed Luma through the main house to the basement. The walls here were smoother, reinforced with metal and strange glowing panels. Luma pushed open a hidden door, revealing a control room filled with screens, switches, and alien devices she had never seen before. The hum grew louder, almost melodic. "This is the heart of the ranch," Luma said. "Mom made it. It keeps us safe." Elara stepped closer, her hand hovering over the panels. They pulsed faintly under her fingers, almost responding to her presence. It was a strange, beautiful sensation. The ranch seemed to recognize her, welcoming, cautious, and alive. "You're not afraid?" Luma asked. Elara shook her head. "I am," she admitted. "But I have to try. If this ranch is alive, I need to learn how to work with it." The little girl smiled faintly, a rare moment of warmth on her serious face. "It will teach you, but you have to listen." Elara spent the rest of the afternoon exploring the ranch with Luma. Everywhere they went, the alien plants seemed to lean toward her, their leaves brushing her arms like gentle hands. Small robotic sheep grazed nearby, their sensors blinking in response to her movements. She realized that every part of this ranch was part of a single organism, responding to life within it. When the sun dipped below the horizon, the plains outside turned golden, then violet. Strange creatures scuttled in the distance, their glowing eyes reflecting the dying light. The ranch hummed in quiet approval, almost like a lullaby for the night. Elara sat beside Luma, watching the stars emerge in the Kalaran sky. The two moons rose, casting silver light across the plains. She thought of Earth, of the life she had left behind. And she thought of the ranch, of the child who called her mom, and of the feeling that she had come here for a reason. A sudden sound made her look up. A shadow moved along the edge of the plains, fast, silent, and deliberate. She froze. Luma whispered, "They are coming." "They want the ranch?" Alara's heart pounded. Whoever they were, humans alone could not match them in strength or numbers, but humans were clever, adaptable, and resilient. And that was something no alien system, no rogue settler, and no mysterious force could take away. She took a deep breath and stood, facing the shadowy horizon. The ranch thrummed beneath her feet, alive and aware. And she knew, somehow, that together she, Luma, and the living ranch could survive. "Then let's be ready," Elara said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. Luma nodded, her small hand brushing against Elara's. "Mom is back," she whispered again. And for the first time, Elara felt it, not just the weight of her responsibility, but the stirring of something larger, something human, and something extraordinary. She was not just a bride on the wrong ranch. She was the one who might save it. As night fell, the ranch pulsed softly, a heartbeat beneath the alien sky. And somewhere in the shadows, the first hints of the approaching threat crept closer, testing the courage of the humans who had arrived by mistake, but were perhaps exactly where they were meant to be. End of Part 1, hook for Part 2. The shadowy figures at the edge of the plains are settlers who want the ranch, and Elara will have to face them using her wits, courage, and the strange power of the living ranch. The night on Kelara was colder than Elara expected. The two moons cast silver shadows across the plains, and the hum of the ranch pulsed faintly beneath her feet, as if sensing her thoughts. She stayed awake beside Luma, listening to the soft whispers of the alien plants outside the windows. Somehow the ranch itself seemed to be alive, alert, and protective, but she knew that even the ranch had limits. "Mom, do they always come at night?" Luma whispered. Her small hand clutched Elara's sleeve. "They don't come every night," Elara replied softly, trying to keep her voice calm. "But if someone wants this ranch, they'll try when we least expect it. We have to be ready." The child nodded, but sleep finally claimed her. Elara stayed awake, eyes scanning the plains. In the distance, dark shapes moved, shadows gliding across the alien grasses, careful and deliberate. Her pulse quickened. These were not wild creatures, these were humans. Settlers, scavengers, maybe even mercenaries, drawn by rumors of a rich, abandoned ranch with hidden technology. Elara rose quietly and went to the control room in the basement. The panels glowed faintly under her touch, responding to her presence. She studied them, trying to understand the systems her predecessor, Luma's mother, had left behind. Screens displayed maps of the ranch and the surrounding plains, small sensor dots moving along the edges. Whoever was out there was approaching steadily. "They're here," she murmured. The ranch seemed to hum in response. Plants outside brushed closer to the walls, as if leaning toward her for guidance. Robotic sheep shifted slightly, sensors glowing brighter. Elara realized that the ranch was not only alive but aware of danger. She took a deep breath and went back upstairs, rousing Luma. "Luma, wake up, we need to move." The girl rubbed her eyes but quickly followed Elara to the main hall. "Where? Outside?" "No," Elara said. "We stay inside, but we have to prepare the ranch to defend itself." We'll use everything it has, and we'll need your help. Luma's eyes widened. Me, I can't fight. You can do more than fight, Alara said. You can listen and you can guide me. The ranch responds to you, to both of us. It will do what we tell it if we know how to speak its language. The girl nodded slowly. Okay, I'll help. Alara led her through the hallways and into the fields beyond, careful to avoid the movement outside. She noticed how the plants reacted to her steps, leaves swaying like they were alive, because they were. Tiny glowing tendrils stretched toward her, brushing against her arms. The ranch seemed to recognize her, opening pathways and guiding her toward vantage points she hadn't noticed before. You feel that? She asked Luma. Luma nodded. It wants us to see. From a ridge, Alara could see the approaching settlers more clearly. They were humans in armored suits, carrying heavy equipment and strange weapons designed to cut through the toughest alien flora. They moved carefully, avoiding the glowing moss and strange plants. But they didn't see the ranch itself as a threat. Yet, Alara's mind raced. Conventional weapons wouldn't stop them. She couldn't match them in strength, and she couldn't rely on luck. She needed a plan, and the ranch, she realized, could be the key. Back inside the house, she studied the control room. The panels lit up as she approached, pulsing in time with her heartbeat. She ran her fingers along them, trying to understand the logic. Symbols flashed, alien glyphs she didn't recognize, but somehow she could feel their function. The ranch was a living network, and it was willing to respond to her touch. What do we do? Luma asked nervously. We make them leave, Alara said firmly. Not with force, but by showing them they cannot take what belongs to us. She spent hours experimenting. By touching panels in specific sequences, she could adjust the lights and the movement of the robotic sheep. She could redirect the flow of water to activate small jets of mist, making the alien plants react unpredictably. She discovered that some plants could even emit spores that caused temporary blindness or confusion. All of this was harmless to life, but enough to disorient intruders. Luma watched with awe. It's like magic, she whispered. No, Alara said with a small smile. It's humans working with something we don't fully understand yet. By dawn, the settlers were closer, creeping along the edge of the plains. Their leader, a tall man with a cybernetic eye, scanned the area with a device that beeped whenever it detected alien life forms. They were cautious, but they wanted this ranch, and they wouldn't turn back easily. Alara positioned herself behind the main barn with Luma at her side. Remember, she whispered, we don't fight them directly. We use the ranch, listen to it, move with it. Trust it and trust yourself. The first intruder stepped into the open, only to freeze. A line of thorny vines shot up from the soil, bending and twisting with impossible precision to block his path. The man stumbled back, muttering curses. The ranch seemed to anticipate his every move. Alara's heart raced. It worked. The ranch was protecting them. The settlers regrouped, trying to flank the barn, but Alara anticipated them. Using the control panels, she guided the robotic sheep in a circular pattern, confusing the intruders and forcing them into soft patches of glowing moss that slowed their movement. Meanwhile, alien plants swayed in her command, creating barriers and channels. Look, Luma pointed, it listens to you? Yes, Alara said, her voice trembling with both fear and excitement, but it listens to both of us. She reached for Luma's hand, holding it tightly. Together we can protect the ranch. Hours passed. The settlers tried different approaches, each more aggressive than the last. But every time, Alara adapted, using the ranch's living systems to redirect them. It was exhausting, but she could feel the pulse of the ranch beneath her feet, matching her rhythm, amplifying her instincts. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. By midday, the settlers finally retreated, frustrated and disoriented. They left with threats, vowing to return, but they no longer saw the ranch as an easy target. Luma cheered, jumping up and down. We did it! We really did it! Alara smiled, kneeling beside her. We did, but this is only the beginning. We have to learn more about the ranch, about ourselves, and about anyone else who might come. Luma's small hand squeezed hers. I think Mom knew you'd come. Alara's eyes widened. Your mom, Luma nodded. She left me here to keep the ranch safe. She said one day someone would arrive, someone like you. Alara felt a strange mix of awe and responsibility. The ranch wasn't just a home. It was a living legacy, a test of human courage and intelligence, and somehow she was part of it. As they walked back to the house, the sun dipped low, painting the alien plains in shades of gold and violet. The ranch pulsed softly, as if acknowledging their victory. But Alara knew the settlers would return. They were clever, relentless, and motivated by greed. And she also knew humans had something even stronger: ingenuity, courage, and heart. She looked at Luma and smiled. "Tomorrow we start learning everything this ranch can do, and we'll be ready for them." Luma nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "I can't wait." Alara allowed herself a small laugh, even as she felt the weight of the task ahead. The ranch was alive, the plains were vast, and danger lurked in every shadow. But humans survived, and humans thrived, because they adapted, they learned, and they never gave up. The night fell once more, the moons rising over the alien landscape. Somewhere in the distance, the settlers regrouped, unaware that the ranch, guided by humans, had already won the first battle. Alara sat beside Luma, gazing out at the plains. She could feel the ranch's pulse beneath her fingers, steady and strong. It was alive, and with them it would stay alive. End of Part 2, hook for Part 3. The settlers are retreating, but they are plotting a return. Alara must deepen her connection with the living ranch, learning its secrets, while preparing for the next, more dangerous challenge. The morning sun rose over Kelara, spilling golden light across the alien plains. Alara woke to a quiet hum beneath her feet, the ranch alive and awake as always. Luma was already at the window, her amber eyes scanning the distant horizon. "They might come back today," the child said softly, as if speaking a fact too heavy for words. Alara nodded. "And we need to be ready. Yesterday we won the first battle, but the settlers will return, and next time they'll be smarter." Luma turned and followed Alara outside. The plains were still, but every plant, every strand of moss seemed alert. The robotic sheep grazed quietly, sensors blinking in a steady rhythm. It was as if the ranch itself was preparing for the next challenge, waiting for humans to guide it. Alara felt a thrill mixed with fear. The ranch was alive, it could respond. But it needed human intuition, cleverness, and courage, qualities that no machine or alien organism could replicate alone. "Luma," Alara said, "today we learn how the ranch works, and we learn how to fight without fighting." The child nodded. They walked toward the main barn, where the control panels lay hidden beneath the floorboards. Alara ran her hands over the glowing symbols, feeling the pulse of the ranch beneath her fingertips. Tiny sparks of energy traveled through her hands like the ranch was testing her, seeing if she could understand it. "You feel that?" Alara asked. Luma nodded, touching the panels carefully. "It's like it's alive." "Yes," Alara said. "It listens, it responds, but it also learns. And we have to teach it to trust us." For hours, they experimented. Alara learned that by touching certain sequences on the panels, she could direct the plants, the robotic sheep, and even the terrain itself. Paths shifted subtly beneath their feet, vines extended or retracted, and alien flowers released clouds of harmless but disorienting spores. Luma's laughter echoed as she guided a line of small plants to swirl around her fingers like living ribbons. "I never thought plants could be so playful," Alara smiled. "They're more than playful, they're alive, they're part of this ranch, and they can protect us if we learn how to work with them." The child's excitement was infectious, and for a moment, Alara allowed herself to imagine a life here, peaceful, safe, and connected to something greater than herself. But the memory of the settler's shadow at the edge of the plains reminded her of the danger lurking outside. By midday, the settlers returned. Their approach was stealthy, careful. This time, they carried larger weapons and devices designed to cut through vegetation and detect life forms that tried to hide. Their cybernetic leader moved with precise calculation, scanning the terrain for signs of the ranch's hidden defenses. Alara crouched behind a wall of glowing moss with Luma, her heart racing. "Remember," she whispered, "we use the ranch, we don't fight them with weapons. We fight with cleverness." The settlers advanced, unaware that the ranch had already detected them. Vines bent subtly in their path, thorny branches blocking their steps, and pools of mist rose to confuse their sensors. The ranch itself had begun to act like a living maze, shifting and reshaping as the intruders moved. Alara guided the plants and robotic sheep with precision. She led the settlers into a narrow corridor of vines that twisted and curved like a spiral, disorienting them. Alien spores filled the air, causing temporary blindness and making them stumble. "They're panicking," Luma whispered, her eyes wide with amazement. "Yes," Alara said, "but we can't let them regroup. The ranch and humans must act together." For hours, the settlers tried every approach, but Alara anticipated them. She guided the ranch to close paths behind them, open new ones ahead, and create obstacles that slowed their movement without causing harm. Her heart pounded with excitement. This was more than survival, it was human ingenuity at work, amplified by the living ranch. At one point, the settlers tried to attack directly with energy cutters. Alara moved a wall of alien vines into place, blocking the devices. The energy sparks reflected off the leaves, creating a dazzling pattern that confused the attackers. They stumbled, tripping over the soft alien soil. Luma watched, wide-eyed. "Mom, she would be proud of you." Alara's breath caught. The words struck a chord deep inside her. She realized that Luma's mother had prepared the ranch for this day, but it was Alara's courage and cleverness that brought it to life. Humans had a unique ability to adapt, to reason, and to turn even the most alien environment into an advantage. By late afternoon, the settlers began to retreat, frustrated and exhausted. They shouted threats as they vanished into the distance, but Alara knew they would return. They were clever, persistent, and driven by greed. She looked at Luma, who was smiling despite the tension. "We did it," the child said softly. "We really did it." "Yes," Alara replied, holding her hand, "but this is just the beginning. We have to understand the ranch better. We have to be ready for the next challenge." They returned to the control room where the panels pulsed softly. Alara studied them carefully, noticing patterns she hadn't seen before. There were hidden sequences, signals that responded not only to touch but to emotion. The ranch could sense intention, thought, and courage. It wasn't just a tool, it was alive, and it needed humans to guide it. Luma leaned against her. "Do you think Mom ever felt this way?" Alara nodded. "I think she did, and I think she left this ranch for a reason, to test humans. To show that we can survive anywhere, even against threats we don't understand." The child looked up, eyes shining. "Then we'll be ready next time, right?" "Yes," Alara said firmly. "We'll be ready, humans always are." As night fell, the ranch pulsed beneath them, glowing softly with life. Outside, strange creatures moved in the shadows, curious but cautious. The settlers were gone for now, but their presence lingered in the air like a warning. Alara and Luma sat together on the ridge, watching the alien moons rise over the plains. The ranch hummed beneath their feet, alive and aware. It had survived the first attacks, but it was clear that more challenges were coming. Alara's mind wandered to the portraits and messages left by Luma's mother. The woman had been clever, resourceful, and deeply connected to the ranch. But it was Alara who would take the next step. She would learn its secrets, unlock its potential, and teach it to trust humans fully. "Tomorrow," Alara whispered, "we start exploring the deeper parts of the ranch. The hidden systems, the rooms no one has seen for years. We need every advantage we can get." Luma nodded, her small hand brushing against Alara's. "I can't wait," she said. Alara smiled, feeling a warmth she had not expected. She was not just surviving on Kelara, she was thriving. She was human, and that meant adaptability, courage, and intelligence. The ranch responded to her because she understood it, and because she understood herself. As they settled down for the night, the ranch pulsed like a heartbeat beneath them, steady and strong. Somewhere in the distance, beyond the plains and alien forests, the settlers regrouped, plotting their return. But this time they would face not just a ranch, but humans who had learned to become part of it. And humans, Alara knew, were dangerous in ways no one could anticipate. End of Part 3, hook for Part 4. The settlers will return with greater force, but Alara must unlock the ranch's deepest secrets, forming a bond with its alien systems that will test her intelligence, courage, and human spirit like never before. The morning light on Kelara was pale and soft, painting the plains with a quiet calm that belied the danger approaching. Alara stood at the ridge, Luma by her side, watching the distant horizon. The settlers were returning, this time with greater force. Their vehicles were larger, armed with heavy equipment designed to break through any defenses. "They're coming," Luma whispered, clutching Alara's sleeve. "Yes," Alara said, her jaw tight with determination, "and this time we'll show them that the ranch isn't just land, it's alive, and it will protect us." The ranch pulsed beneath their feet as if sensing her resolve. Alara had spent the past 2 days learning its systems. She had discovered hidden tunnels beneath the main barn, rooms filled with alien machinery, and glyphs that responded not just to touch, but to thought and emotion. The ranch could anticipate movement, predict intentions, and adapt to strategies, but it needed a human mind to guide it. Alara glanced at Luma. Today, we work together. You guide the ranch with me, and we make sure no one can take it." The child nodded, eyes wide but steady. "I'll do my best." As the settlers drew closer, Alara set her plan in motion. Using the control panels beneath the barn, she activated the ranch's living systems. Plants shifted, creating barriers and twisting paths. Robotic sheep moved strategically, acting as both scouts and decoys. Alien moss emitted gentle pulses of light to confuse sensors, while vines curled into protective arches. Every part of the ranch responded to her commands, like an orchestra led by a human conductor. When the first wave of settlers entered the plains, they were immediately met with confusion. The ground shifted subtly beneath them, making every step unpredictable. Thorned vines blocked their paths, forcing them to retreat and regroup. Mist rose from hidden canals, reflecting the two moons and creating disorienting illusions. Alara guided the ranch patiently. She wasn't just reacting, she was thinking ahead, predicting the settlers' movements and using the alien systems to outsmart them. Luma followed her lead, whispering guidance as she sensed the ranch's responses. "Left, the moss is thicker there. Vines coming block the path." Together, they became a single unit, humans and ranch acting as one. The settlers' leader, a tall man with a cybernetic eye, realized they were being outmaneuvered. He cursed under his breath and ordered a direct attack. Energy cutters sparked against the alien plants, but the vines twisted away just in time. Some robotic sheep charged, causing chaos and forcing the settlers to split up. Alara felt a thrill of confidence. This wasn't just about survival anymore. Humans, she realized, had something no machine, no alien organism could match: intuition, courage, and cleverness. She smiled faintly, thinking of Luma's mother. The woman had prepared this ranch, but it was Alara's human ingenuity that awakened it fully. Hours passed, the settlers pressing forward with every trick they could muster. But the ranch anticipated them. Hidden tunnels opened beneath the intruders, shifting terrain slowed their progress, and alien flora created paths that led them in circles. It was a masterful display of living strategy. Luma cheered quietly as another settler stumbled into a mist-filled trap. "We did it." "They can't find us?" "Yes," Alara said, her eyes scanning the horizon. "But we have to finish this. We need to show them they can't take this ranch, not ever." She led Luma to the heart of the main barn, where the deepest control panels waited. Here the ranch's intelligence was strongest, its pulse deepest. Alara closed her eyes and placed her hands on the panels, focusing all her thoughts. She felt the ranch's awareness flow into her, a rhythm of life and possibility. "Now," she whispered to Luma, "guide me." Luma reached out, tiny hands trembling, and touched the panels beside Alara's. She focused, willing the ranch to respond. Slowly, the alien systems aligned with their thoughts. Paths shifted more quickly, barriers moved with precision, and plants adapted instantaneously to every settler movement. The ranch wasn't just defending itself, it was fighting with human intelligence guiding it. From the ridge, Alara could see the settlers' confusion growing. They had never faced a living system that could anticipate and adapt to human strategy. Their energy cutters sparkled against shifting vines and glowing moss, but nothing could reach the humans directing the ranch. "You're amazing," Luma whispered. Alara smiled. "No, we're amazing. Humans work best together." The settlers, frustrated and desperate, attempted a final charge. Vehicles rolled forward, aiming to flatten plants and clear a path, but Alara had anticipated this. Using hidden channels beneath the plains, she diverted small geysers of water and compressed air, knocking the vehicles off balance. Robotic sheep swarmed, guiding them into mud pits that immobilized their wheels. Thorned vines twisted under tires, halting progress. The settlers shouted in rage, realizing they had underestimated the ranch and the humans protecting it. The leader's cybernetic eye scanned for weak points, but the ranch responded instantly, closing every path and opening new ones. It was a chess game with life itself, and Alara and Luma were the queens. By late afternoon, the settlers finally retreated. Exhausted, disoriented, and humiliated, they vanished beyond the plains, leaving threats in their wake. Alara and Luma watched silently, the ranch's pulse slowing to a calm rhythm. They had won, but this victory was more than a battle. It was proof of something deeper. Humans could adapt, think, and thrive even in alien environments. Alara knelt beside Luma, brushing dust from her hair. "We did it. The ranch is safe for now." The child smiled, her small hand resting in Alara's. "We really are like Mom," she said softly. "She would be proud of us." Alara felt a strange warmth. Luma's mother had left this ranch, prepared for the day someone would arrive to awaken it. And now, with courage, intelligence, and care, Alara had fulfilled that legacy. Humans had turned a living ecosystem into an ally, not a tool. As night fell, the ranch pulsed softly beneath them, glowing faintly in rhythm with the moons. Alara stood at the ridge, looking over the plains. Somewhere beyond the horizon, the settlers were regrouping, plotting a return, but she no longer feared them. Humans had an advantage no one else had, the ability to adapt, to understand, and to work with forces far beyond simple technology or brute strength. "This ranch, it's alive," Alara whispered. "And it's ours because we're human, and humans never give up." Luma leaned against her, watching the glowing plains. "Do you think we'll have to fight again?" "Yes," Alara said, a small smile on her face. "But we'll be ready, we always are." The ranch pulsed beneath them, alive and aware, as if acknowledging her words. For the first time, Alara understood something profound. The ranch didn't just protect humans. Humans, in turn, guided the ranch, nurtured it, and gave it purpose. Together, they were unstoppable. In the distance, strange lights flickered on the horizon, settlers or scouts returning. But Alara didn't flinch. She had learned the greatest lesson of all. Survival was not about weapons, speed, or size. It was about cleverness, courage, and the ability to work with life itself. Luma whispered again, softly, almost to herself. "Mom is back." Alara smiled, feeling the truth of it. She was not just a visitor on Kelara. She was part of the ranch, part of the plains, and part of the legacy left behind by the woman who had come before her. Humans, she realized, had the power to survive anywhere, even against forces they could not yet understand, because they were resourceful, brave, and determined. And the settlers, no matter how clever or ruthless, had just witnessed that power firsthand. The night deepened, the two moons casting silver shadows across the alien plains. Alara and Luma returned to the main barn, knowing that tomorrow they would explore the hidden depths of the ranch even further. There were systems they hadn't yet touched, secrets buried in the tunnels below, and mysteries waiting to be revealed. But for now, they rested. The ranch pulsed softly beneath their feet, alive and protective. And for the first time, Alara felt a sense of belonging, not just to a place, but to a living legacy that was human and alien, intertwined and unstoppable. End of Part 4, hook for Part 5. The settlers may return with even greater force, but Alara will unlock the deepest secrets of the ranch, using every ounce of human ingenuity and courage to defend it and secure her place as its guardian. The sky over Kelara burned with the colors of early dawn. Silver light from the twin moons lingered faintly as Alara and Luma stood at the ridge, overlooking the plains. The settlers were returning, this time with far greater force. Vehicles rumbled along the horizon, and in their midst, she could see the glint of heavy armor and energy weapons designed to destroy everything in their path. Luma squeezed Alara's hand. "Do you think the ranch can stop them this time?" Alara looked down at the glowing moss, the robotic sheep grazing nearby, and the alien plants swaying gently in the wind. The ranch pulsed softly beneath her feet, a steady heartbeat waiting for her commands. She smiled, determination rising like fire. "Yes," she said firmly. "But this time, we do more than defend. We show them that the ranch and humans together are unstoppable." The settlers advanced, confident in their numbers and technology. But they didn't understand the living ranch or the humans who guided it. Alara knelt in the control room, Luma at her side. She touched the panels, feeling the pulse of the ranch, and thought carefully. Each vine, each robotic sheep, each pool of glowing moss was a part of the defense, but the ranch had hidden depths she had yet to explore. "There are tunnels beneath us," she said. "Old rooms, old systems. The ranch is strongest there. If we lure them into the heart, we can control the battlefield completely." Luma's eyes widened. "The heart?" "Yes," Alara said. "The very center. That's where the ranch can respond fastest. That's where we can show them the power of humans working with life itself." They moved quickly, descending into the tunnels below the barn. Ancient glyphs glowed faintly along the walls, reacting to Alara's presence. The tunnels were wide, filled with alien machinery and strange vines that pulsed with life. Here, the ranch's intelligence was concentrated. Each step amplified the pulse beneath her feet, sending signals to the plants, moss, and robotic sheep above ground. Alara held Luma's hand. This is it. Together we guide it, and nothing will stop us. The settlers arrived soon after, expecting an easy victory. Their energy weapons cut through alien foliage, and their vehicles churned the glowing moss into dust. But as they advanced, the ranch responded instantly. Pathways shifted, vines twisted to block their wheels, and pools of mist rose to obscure their vision. The settlers shouted in frustration, realizing they were being herded into tunnels they could not navigate. Alara focused, touching panels that controlled the deepest systems. The tunnels beneath them shifted subtly, guiding settlers into corridors where robotic sheep blocked their path, and vines rose from the floor to redirect their movement. The settlers' leader cursed, his cybernetic eye scanning for weaknesses, but there were none. Every attempt to attack was anticipated, every movement predicted. Luma's whispers guided her. Left, the corridor is closing behind them. Right, the moss is growing faster there. Together, they moved like one mind, human intuition merged with the ranch's living intelligence. One settler fired an energy cutter directly at them, trying to break through the barriers. Alara pressed a sequence of panels, and the vine walls shifted, deflecting the attack harmlessly. Sparks flew, illuminating the tunnels with brief flashes of light, but the humans remained unharmed. They think they can win, Alara muttered, but they don't understand humans, Luma nodded. Humans survive anywhere. The settlers' forces were divided, trapped in corridors, slowed by shifting terrain and the unpredictability of the ranch. Alara's mind raced, thinking several steps ahead. She activated hidden channels beneath the tunnels, releasing harmless but disorienting clouds of spores. The settlers coughed and stumbled, blinded and confused. Robotic sheep herded them into chambers where the vines moved almost like living walls, guiding them away from Luma and Alara. Hours passed, and the settlers grew desperate. They tried to regroup and attack directly, but the ranch anticipated their strategy. Vines twisted and blocked exits, moss grew in thick mats to slow movement, and alien plants created illusions that made the tunnels appear endless. Alara realized something profound. Humans had a power the settlers could never replicate. They could think, adapt, and use courage and cleverness to turn even an alien ecosystem into an advantage. The ranch's intelligence was immense, but it needed humans to guide it. Without her, the settlers could have destroyed everything. With her, they had no chance. Finally, exhausted and defeated, the settlers retreated, leaving their vehicles behind. The plains were quiet once more. Alara and Luma emerged from the tunnels, the ranch pulsing beneath their feet as if celebrating their victory. The robotic sheep grazed peacefully, and the alien plants swayed in the soft breeze. "We did it," Luma whispered, eyes wide with amazement. "Yes," Alara said, holding her hand. "We defended the ranch, and we learned something important. Humans working together with life can survive anything." The child smiled. "Do you think Mom would be proud?" Alara's heart tightened. "She would. And she left this ranch for someone exactly like you and me. We've honored her legacy." For the first time, Alara looked at the plains without fear. The settlers had come, tried to take the ranch, and failed. But more importantly, she had discovered the power humans held, not through weapons or brute force, but through courage, intelligence, and connection. She walked with Luma through the ranch, touching the plants, guiding the robotic sheep, and feeling the pulse beneath her feet. Every system she touched, every sequence she activated felt alive. The ranch was not just a home, it was a living partner, a test of human potential, and a reminder of what humanity could achieve. Days passed. Alara and Luma explored every hidden room, every control panel, and every secret corridor beneath the ranch. They discovered old records left by Luma's mother, logs detailing the ranch's defenses, the living ecosystem's history, and the techniques used to communicate with it. Alara realized that humans were not only capable of surviving on Kelara, they could thrive, using intelligence, empathy, and courage to turn alien challenges into opportunities. Word of the living ranch spread across nearby settlements. Humans began to respect Kelara's plains, understanding that the ranch was not simply land to conquer, but a living system that required care and respect. Alara became a mentor, teaching others how humans could coexist with the alien ecosystem rather than destroy it. One evening, Luma whispered again, "Mom is back." Alara looked at her, smiling. "Yes," she said softly, "and now the ranch is ours. Together, we've made it stronger than ever. Humans and this planet working together can do anything." The twin moons rose over Calera, casting silver light across the glowing plains. The ranch pulsed steadily, alive and aware, a testament to the partnership between humans and life itself. Ilara realized she was no longer just a visitor. She was part of the ranch, part of its legacy, and part of the future. Humans could survive anywhere. They could thrive, adapt, and rise to any challenge. And on Calera, that truth had been proven beyond doubt. Ilara took Luma's hand and walked through the ranch, past the fields of glowing moss, the twisting vines, and the robotic sheep that moved with precision and intelligence. They paused at the ridge, looking out over the plains. "Do you think they'll come back?" Luma asked. "Maybe," Ilara said, "but if they do, they'll find more than a ranch. They'll find humans who understand it, guide it, and defend it. And humans never give up." The child smiled, resting her head on Ilara's shoulder. Together, they looked out at the horizon, the alien sun dipping low, painting the plains in gold and violet. The ranch pulsed beneath them, alive and thriving. It was more than a home, it was a living legacy. Ilara realized something profound. Humans had the power not only to survive, but to transform the impossible into the possible. They were clever, adaptable, and courageous. They could face alien worlds, rogue settlers, and even the unknown, and they could win not by destruction but by understanding, empathy, and ingenuity. The settlers had been defeated, the ranch was safe, and humanity had triumphed. Luma whispered one last time, "Mom is back." Ilara smiled, feeling the truth in the words. She was home, not the home she had expected, not the life she had planned, but a home born from courage, human ingenuity, and the living heartbeat of Calera itself. And for the first time, she knew the future. Humans could thrive anywhere, no matter the challenge, and with courage, heart, and intelligence, they could turn even the most alien of worlds into a place of life, hope, and legacy. The ranch hummed softly beneath them, alive, aware, and stronger than ever. And in that pulse, Ilara felt the power of humanity, unbroken, brilliant, and triumphant. End of Part 5, Conclusion. The settlers are gone, the ranch is safe, and Ilara has become its guardian. Humans, working with courage and intelligence, have triumphed, proving that the human spirit can thrive anywhere, even on a distant alien world.